What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you so much for watching my last video. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week on this fine Monday. What I have for you today is another training recap. We're going to talk about lower body day number 2 of the program, where we focus on squat as our main compound movement, and then we destroy the calves later on in the exercise. Before we get started, if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing, consider hitting a like on the video. That'd be great. Also, sports clips, don't go there. You're dead to me. You're getting hats from now on because they really destroyed my hair, and I'm bitter about it. Anyway, we're moving on. So, as we talked about last week, this is a tiered program. So, first 4 weeks, we're building volume. So, we are on week 3. This footage is from week 3, day 3. So, I'm feeling a little fatigue, not going to lie to you. The weights are getting higher. There's more set volume. And today, specifically, this footage that we're going to look at, my central nervous system was like, bro, why are you putting this much weight on our back? But you know what? You've got to grind. That is the main thing. You got to grind. You got to listen to your body. I felt like we weren't going to get injured. We were fine. I know I've got a deload coming in the next couple of weeks, so we just put on our big person pants and we went after it. So, first and foremost, let's take a look at the squat. As always, I like to start my workouts with my compound movements so that I can get the best lifts possible. So we set up here. This is 335, and I'm going for 6 reps, right? I squat low bar, which means the barbell rests just above my traps on my back as opposed to closer to my neck. Again, when I'm doing pause squats, I like to do high bar squats just to mix it up, but my competition lift is a low bar squat. So as you can see here, we drop down. Depth is looking okay, maybe not perfect. I'd like to push a little bit lower, but I think we get away with that in competition. You can see I'm taking in a big breath of air. I am holding, I'm valsalvaing for all my reps, hitting 6. My bar path is looking pretty decent. Again, if you remember last week when we talked about the bench press bar path, how you want it to be in an arc. When you're squatting, you want more of a straight up and down bar path. So just something to keep in mind. I would highly encourage you to film your lifts if you want to get better. When you watch film, it helps to reinforce concepts that you should be doing and making sure that you're actually doing them. So I highly recommend that you film your own lifts. That was the first set of squats. Let's move on to the second set. I recorded both of these two. Just wanted to show fatigue level in the second set versus the first set. So my setup is the same each time. Take a big deep breath, get underneath the bar, make sure that my bar is placed where I want it to be, and just squeeze tight. Make sure that it's packed on my upper traps so that I don't have any movement in the bar as I'm doing my squat. Drop down, depth is still, it's iffy. I'm thinking that I'm going 90 here, but I could definitely go a little bit lower. Bar path looks pretty good, straight up and down. And right here, we're going to finish off with another big deep breath, and we crushed it. Hell yeah, brother. Way to get after it. Definitely not my strongest squats. I think my squats are kind of suffering a little bit because I'm putting so much emphasis on my deadlift, but that's a trade-off that I'm willing to make. My squat is at a good spot. My 1 rep max is a 405, 410, around there somewhere, and I'm okay with where that is right now. So you're just trying to keep the motions in my mind, trying to keep my back and my quads used to the movement, but we're not pushing for PRs right now. After squats, we move on to good mornings, which get a bad rap because I think a lot of people are doing them incorrect. If you squat low bar, set up the same way. Set up in a low bar position, pack your traps and your lats together, really retract your scapula, and just push the bar down into you. Because if you have the bar where you're just holding it with your hands and your back is loose, when you go down and bend to that 90-degree angle, it's going to roll forward. And you don't want the bar to roll forward off of your neck and onto your head. Nightmare scenario. And it has happened to a lot of people, and then they just throw good mornings right out the window. I think the exercise is solid. So I program it. But you really got to pay attention to your setup. My form, I think I could have a little bit more bend in my knee and kind of get more down to a 90-degree angle. Here we're looking like a 75-degree angle maybe. So another thing that I'm working on, just a little bit more bend in the knee to get back down. But I'm bracing every time, and I'm just working that lower back and those hamstrings as much as possible. All right, so after our good mornings, we move on to the straight leg deadlift. And I can already hear you. Jonah, why are you doing a good morning and a straight leg deadlift in the same day at the same program? It's the same functional movement pattern. To that, I would say that you're right. However, when I'm doing a good morning, I feel the stimulus more in my low back. Whereas opposed to a straight leg deadlift, I definitely feel it more in my hamstrings and my glutes. You can overdo things. Just because you have one movement that is a similar stimulus to another movement doesn't mean that you can't, you're overdoing it. Oh, no. I think that if you're being intentional with your training and you're understanding that both of these movement patterns are going to be working the same similar muscle systems, you can understand that I'm just overworking those muscle systems today, and that's totally fine. And I think that with a straight leg deadlift, you're definitely going to feel more in your hamstrings based on where the weight is. The weight's out in front of you. It's going straight up and down. You're activating your hamstrings more in a straight leg deadlift. Your mentality is, I'm activating my hamstrings here, whereas when you're doing the good mornings, you're bracing in your core, your low back, and your hips. It all comes down to personal preference. You don't have to program them both on the same day, but for me, I like them both. Okay, so for the straight leg deadlift, you notice I took my shoes off. We're running from a flat-footed position. Usually I like to wear wrestling shoes, but I bought some new ones. They're in the mail, so we're going shoes off here. We set up like a normal deadlift, feet kind of shoulder width apart. You're going to see me bring it up as if I was doing a normal deadlift, and then we're just going to hinge at the hips, straighten our legs, go straight up and down, really thinking about activating the hamstrings here, trying to keep as little knee bend in the movement as possible, really just hinging at the hips and repping it out as much as possible right here. So here we're doing 185 for 10 reps. All right, so after all of our compound movements are done, we've hit the squats, we've hit the straight leg deadlifts, we've hit the good mornings, we're going to move over to the leg press, and we're just going to destroy the quads a little bit more. Obviously, you can set up your leg press however you want to do it. You can do it for strength, hypertrophy. I'm doing it for endurance, meaning I'm in the rep ranges of 20. So we're going to hit 2 sets of 20 at 450 pounds. And again, I just count leg press weight by how many 45 plates I've put on there. Obviously, the leg press machine has its own weight, but I find it easier just to count the plates. So we're doing 450 for my purposes. When I'm doing a leg press, I want to set up with my feet low on the platform, and I want my toes facing outwards. I really just want this to be a quad-centered movement instead of, getting any hamstring involvement in as much as possible. So as you can see, I'm coming down, bending the knees at a 90-degree angle. We're really pushing. The lungs, we're feeling it on this one, guys. 20 reps of anything is insane, but 20 reps of a leg press machine with a mask on, I am huffing and puffing. We get through it. You just gotta push, man. You just gotta push. That's the name of the game on this workout today. We were pushing. Sometimes it's gonna be a struggle in the gym, and you just gotta go after it. So after the leg press, we're gonna go right after the calves. Again, we're going over to my favorite standing calf raise machine. Thank you so much, LA Fitness. Setting up the same way that we normally do. We're going to do 4 sets of 10 at an RPE of 9. So I've got 200 pounds on the bar. And what I'm really focusing on here, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize when they're training the calves, is I'm trying to take as much elasticity out of my Achilles tendon at the bottom of the movement. So I'm trying to pause, make sure that there's not a lot of spring back up so that my calves are really doing the work as opposed to just bouncing the weight up and down with some tension in the Achilles tendon. And then we run right over to the seated calf raise. A more isolated movement on the calves. In the standing calf raise, you can cheat a little bit with, your hamstrings. When you get to the seated calf raise, however, it's all your calves. That's what it is. You're going after your calves. You don't have any help from anything else. So it's just a good way to really finish off the calves. I've got 90 pounds on the machine here, and I'm doing 12 reps. Again, trying to take as much tension out of my Achilles tendon at the bottom of the movement, pausing just for a slight moment and coming back up and going through the full range of motion. Something that I'd like to work on here is I'm bending my trunk a little bit, and I think that is having an effect on the stimulus that my calves are getting. So as I move forward in my training, I want to keep a straight back and really just focus on my calves. All right, guys, that's going to be it. This was lower body day 2, week 3. So again, the stimulus is rising every week. We've got a deload week on the horizon, but man, I was really feeling it. If I could leave you with anything, I'd just say make sure you're riding that line between pushing yourself and making sure that you're actually working hard in the gym and also making sure that you're not pushing yourself too hard. It's tough. It's hard for beginners especially, but you'll pick it up as you go. You'll learn what really taxes you, what you can do more of. You'll get there. It's all about putting the reps in. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate all the feedback we've been getting on these videos. They're going to keep coming out, so you might as well subscribe. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Next Monday, we're doing week 4, day 4, another upper body day. Get strong, stay strong. I hope you guys have a good week.